Thank you, Andrea, so much for being here today to share a bit about her startup stories. So the first question is, could you start by telling us your name, your current position, and your academic background?
Absolutely. My name is Andrea Palmer. I am the CEO and founder of Awake Labs, and I studied mechanical engineering at UBC. I graduated in 2015. I specialized in mechatronics and I did a minor in commerce.
Awesome. Next question, could you share some of the things your company is currently working on?
Awake Labs is building a platform to measure stress in real time, specifically for adults with intellectual or developmental disabilities. It consists of a smartwatch that measures stress in real time. And when we say stress, it actually measures physiological arousal. So it could be excitement, stress, fear, or anger. There's a mobile app that gets the real-time information and notifications if the self-advocate or care team member needs to know that arousal level is rising. And then there's also a dashboard where clinicians or case managers can go in and look at all of the data and be able to see what is helping and what isn't helping and adjust their care plans accordingly.
Yeah, that sounds like a really big and important mission to accomplish. Definitely helps a lot of people too.
That's the plan.
So the next question is, what would be a workday look like for you as a CEO and an entrepreneur?
A typical workday kind of doesn't exist. As the CEO, I think a lot of people maybe think that, I don't know, it's like a glamorous position, but often what I do, especially on a small team, are all the things that we don't have other people to do. So, when we had an office, I was the one that cleaned it. As a CEO, I have to be on top of like our legal, our financial, our team, our product, everything. And so some days I have to do finances and I'm not a financial person. Some days I have to review contracts all day and negotiate contracts to the best of my ability. I work on partnerships, I work on sales. So it really doesn't exist, I guess, in like a traditional day. But what I have tried to do is rearrange my day so that I have time to be creative and to do good work on the hours that I need to be most productive.
Right.
And for me, that's earliest in the morning and kind of right before dinner. And I used to spend that time eating breakfast and exercising and preparing for dinner. So I've tried to rearrange my day so I can exercise when I usually get the most tired, which is in the middle of the afternoon, and then spend the kind of creative, productive days when that works for me the most. And I'm saying this because I'm CEO and I can do this, but I think that even as students, you can arrange your day
for
to
sure.
try and do the things that make sense.
Yeah, thanks for giving some insight of your daily life. That's really good to hear. Next question. What do you think about the connection between going from mechanical engineering and to starting your business?
I think that engineering was really about problem solving and teaching how to think about problems and consider different aspects of it. And so I think that entrepreneurship is also really about problem solving, just with a lot more risk associated with it.
Right.
And and then you're also kind of in charge of, everyone's salaries and making sure that the product that you create achieves the mission for the users that you want it to. So there's a lot of risk involved, but at the end of the day, it really is still about problem solving. And we actually started Awake Labs out of the new venture design course that brought together engineers and business students to come up with an idea for a product and prototype it and have a plan on how to bring it to market. And so I think it was like a natural extension of engineering in that way. Someone smarter than me at UBC thought about it before and made the course that made it possible.
Right. Yeah, that was a great answer. Could you tell us a little bit more of after graduation, after you have this product already created, what kind of thing that you have done to lead you to where your company are right now?
When we were students, we reached out to some researchers. We found papers that said, you can measure stress using these different signals. And we talked to a ton of people who said that they would want to use it. And specifically, they thought that their kids on the autism spectrum could use it to help them self-regulate to help them be able to sit in classrooms and learn better and develop better relationships. And so we talked to parents and teachers and therapists who all said this was a good idea. And then the course ended, and there were 6 of us in the initial course, including someone who's still with the company today. And then we kind of went on our separate ways, and the parents kept emailing us and saying, hey, that thing that you talked about, like, that's really happening, right? And so, it was their persistence and interest in the product that really allowed us to grow and become what it is today. And actually, one of the researchers that we had reached out to when we were students, her name is Dr. Azadeh Kushki, and she works at the Holland Bloorview Research Institute in Toronto. We now partner with them, and we're commercializing that research that she had developed back in 2014. And so that is, the key algorithm that's in the app that goes on the smartwatch for us. So that's one of the big pieces that we've done, I guess, since graduating. We've taken a number of different, twists and turns along the way, but we've always really strongly believed in the community that we were working with. And so a big piece, and this is true for engineering too, is designing with the users, with the people that you have in mind about if they're going to use it, you need to know how they use it, how it fits into their day, and not make it an extra hurdle for them to develop it. So we've kept that through along the way, and that's how we grow, and just building that trust and staying true to our mission to make sure that we help impact people as positively as possible.
That is so great. Your goal is essentially to help more people, so that is always a really good starting point to have. Yeah. So the next question is, what has been some of the memorable events that has happened during your career?
As I mentioned, there were a few twists and turns along the way. So with that came challenges and upsides. I think the big thing, if we stick with the impact, is really we say we measure stress, but what happens if you can help take that stress or that anxiety away from people?
Right.
And it's about really how stress affects people's lives. So the people that we work with often don't get to choose who is in their life. They don't get to choose where they live or their care team. And so if we can help them manage stress, that stress maybe was caused because they don't feel safe in their environment, or because they don't have a good relationship with their caregivers or with their family or something like that. And so we have heard so many stories from people about, how the relationship with their parents have improved, how the relationship with their care staff has improved, because they now believe that the care staff is actually there to support them and that they understand them better. So anytime that we hear a story or get an email or hear from a self-advocate who say, you've helped me do this thing that I didn't think was possible, or that I've been working on for a really long time, and your technology has allowed me to better understand and grow and be able to do that, that's really, the most memorable thing.
That is awesome. It's definitely super rewarding to see you actually making an impact on the world.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
That is awesome. So the next question is a conclusion. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger student self, what would it be? And also, if you have any advice for students wanting to start a business just like you did.
I think, so one piece of advice I got when I was younger is to always ask for what you want, because no one's just going to hand it to you. And so I think that's really important. And then also, it's great to have goals and to reach those milestones, but especially in entrepreneurship, it's never the end of the road. You have to, hit that goal, and then really that's when the work starts. And so you really have to keep pushing. A lot of people, especially in startups, talk about like, oh, I just raised this fundraising round, like this, great, the goal has been achieved, but like that's, now you have to deliver on everything you promised when you set that goal. So yeah, keep pushing, ask for what you need, because no one's going to give it to you.
That is awesome. Those are really good advice. Well, thank you so much for being here today with us.
Thank you so much, Crystal.